Alright, Shalom. First and foremost, I'm going to start this lesson off by giving all the praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash, double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, honors to all the brothers who are still fervently pushing the word in sincerity and in faith, and Shalom to all the sincere believers. Now, this lesson is going to be based on this typhoon, Feng Wang, nears super strength, menacing an already storm-stricken Philippines. And this is exactly what the men of the Lord have been saying when we say that the Lord is not letting up when it comes to these judgments. He's just piling on these judgments onto these wicked kingdoms and these wicked people. Like it says in 2 Ezra 8:50, for many great miseries shall be done to them that in the latter time shall dwell in the world, because they have walked in great pride. And the fact that the Lord just keeps sending hurricanes and typhoons upon these different kingdoms is proof of that. Not to mention all the earthquakes, volcano eruptions, devastating fires, the famines, the diseases, the power outages, the riots and the protests and the wars that are breaking out in these different countries. It's just non-stop. Like it says in Isaiah 48:22, there is no peace, saith the Lord Yahweh, unto the wicked. And we're seeing that. There is no peace. It's just one thing after another. And it's beautiful, because it just shows that the Lord is visiting these wicked people. They're not getting away with their wickedness. So through the Spirit, I'm going to read this article, get some precepts, and Lord's will, you're edified. A second typhoon in a week is churning toward the Philippines, with residents in its path warned to flee the looming destructive winds and life-threatening storm surges. Feng Wang, known locally as Yuan, follows on the heels of Typhoon Kalmegi, which killed almost 200 people in the central part of the archipelago nation, as well as 5 people in Vietnam. Forecasters are now warning that the latest storm could strengthen into a super typhoon before making landfall on the eastern coast on Sunday. Feng Wang's massive circulation, spanning 1,500 kilometers, is already lashing parts of the region with heavy rain and winds, said forecaster Benison Estaraja from the country's meteorological agency Pagasa, according to Reuters. Said it can cover almost the entire country. Said on Saturday morning, Feng Wang barreled across the Philippine Sea with sustained winds of 140 kilometers per hour and gusts up to 170 kilometers per hour. Pagasa urged residents in low-lying and coastal areas to evacuate to higher ground and suspend all marine activities, as the agency warned of violent winds and destructive storm surges in Luzon, the nation's most populous island home to the capital Manila, as well as the Visayas Islands and Siargao, known as the country's surfing capital. Several airlines, including Philippine Airlines, have canceled flights, according to the Philippines Civil Aviation Authority. Weather agencies upgraded Feng Wang to a typhoon on Friday evening, just hours after downgrading Kalmegi. The Philippines is no stranger to typhoons, and Feng Wang is the 21st named storm to impact the country this year, according to local officials. Says its predecessor, Kalmegi, left a trail of death and devastation as it tore through the central Philippines on Tuesday, reducing entire neighborhoods to rubble and displacing tens of thousands of people. At least 188 people were killed, most in Cebu province, a tourist hotspot, local authorities said. Though not the strongest storm to hit, It was slow moving and dumped huge volumes of water over highly populated areas. Officials said most people died from drowning. It says its impact was worsened by clogged waterways in an already flood-prone area and an apparent lack of understanding of early warnings. Bernardo Rafaelito Alejandro, Deputy Administrator for the Philippines Office of Civil Defense, told local media that the Philippines is one of Asia's most flood-prone countries, but this year it has also been mired in a massive corruption scandal involving flood control projects that have brought thousands of protesters onto the streets. Dozens of legislators, senators, and construction companies have been accused of receiving kickbacks with money intended for thousands of flood control projects. Scientists have long warned the human-caused climate crisis, for which industrialized nations bear greater historical responsibility, has only exacerbated the scale and intensity of regional storms that disproportionately impact populations in the global south. The Western Pacific is the most active tropical basin on Earth, but global ocean temperatures have been at record levels for each of the last 8 years. Hotter oceans, fueled by human-caused global warming, provide ample energy for storms to strengthen. The climate crisis is supercharging rainfall events as warmer air can hold more moisture, which it then wrings out over towns, cities, and communities, as it already has this week in Southeast Asia. Yeah. So this is what's happening. The Lord is just daily just turning up his judgments, bringing more destruction. And like it says in this article, it says dozens of legislators, senators, and construction companies have been accused of receiving kickbacks with money intended for thousands of flood control projects. And that's where the protests in these different countries comes in, because, the government is being accused of, basically taking money that was intended to help the people and just keeping it for themselves. So then when events like this happen, the money that should have gone to help the people isn't there anymore. Or there's not as much of it as there's supposed to be. And obviously people are starting to wake up to that. They're starting to wake up to the fact that their government is corrupt. And it's pissing people off because people are losing their homes, people are losing their loved ones, and the government is just sitting back and letting it happen and not even trying to help the people. The government is over here stealing from the people. So naturally, people are going to be very pissed off. And that's why we see the protests and the riots and the civil wars breaking out in these different countries. Just yet another thing that the Lord has going on. Psalm 79:6, pour out thy wrath upon the heathen that have not known thee, and upon the kingdoms that have not called upon thy name. And that's exactly what the Lord is doing. Fires, storms, tempests, earthquakes, power outages, famines, pestilences, wars. The Lord is just bringing all manner of judgments upon these wicked kingdoms and upon these wicked people who dwell within these wicked kingdoms. Isaiah 29:6, thou shalt be visited of the Lord Yahweh of hosts with thunder, and with earthquake, and great noise, with storm and tempest, and the flame of devouring fire. And the Heavenly Father is clearly visiting with these storms and tempests. A lot of hurricanes, a lot of tornadoes, a lot of typhoons, a lot of earthquakes as well. And the scripture said that the Lord is going to visit with these things. Isaiah 28:2, behold, the Lord hath a mighty and strong one, which as a tempest of hail and a destroying storm, as a flood of mighty waters overflowing shall cast down to the earth with the hand. And the Lord is clearly sending these destroying storms. And with these destroying storms comes flood waters, that torrential rain that causes streams and rivers and lakes to overflow and pour into towns and neighborhoods. That's why they said, a lot of people out there in the Philippines, they usually die from drowning when these typhoons hit. That's usually what kills a lot of people, is the floods. So when the men of the Lord tell you that these scriptures are true, I mean, just take a look at what's going on in the world and then filter it through the scriptures and you'll see. Psalms 11:6, upon the wicked he shall rain snares, fire and brimstone, and an horrible tempest. This shall be the portion of their cup. And that's right. And that's exactly what the Lord is doing. Upon the wicked, he is raining horrible tempests, tornadoes, hurricanes, and typhoons, to be specific. Psalms 83:14, as the fire burneth a wood, and as the flame setteth the mountains on fire. Verse 15, so persecute them with thy tempest, and make them afraid with thy storm. And when you look up the definition of tempest, it means a violent windy storm, such as hurricanes or tornadoes, typhoons, monsoons, blizzards. Those get thrown in there as well. These are the tempests of the Lord, the destructive, violent winds of the Lord. 2 Timothy 3:1, this know also that in the last days perilous times shall come. And you look up the definition of perilous, and it means full of danger or risk. And with all the events going on in this world, the protests, the riots, the wars, the famines, the pestilences, the diseases, the power outages, the fire, storms, tempests, earthquakes, volcano eruptions, just clashes amongst the people, a lot of violence, stabbings and shootings and kidnappings and plane crashes and car crashes and trains derailing and boats capsizing, animal attacks. All of these different events are just proving that we are living in the last days. And it's going to get a whole lot worse. It's going to get a lot more chaotic, a lot more intense, a lot more deadly, a lot more destructive. And that's why those of us of the hopeful elect, we have to stay prayed up. Because we have to keep in mind that the Heavenly Father is the only one who can keep us safe through his only begotten Son, Yahweh Shai. Luke 21:36, watch ye therefore, and pray always, that ye may be accounted worthy to escape all these things that shall come to pass, and to stand before the Son of Man. And that's exactly what those of us of the hopeful elect are doing. We're watching, and we're praying because we see the destruction increasing. We're praying that the Lord accounts us worthy to endure unto the end and be saved. We're praying that the Lord accounts us worthy to escape all the death and destruction and chaos and misery that he's getting ready to unleash full force upon this earth and upon these wicked kingdoms and upon these wicked people. Those of us of the hopeful elect, we got to stay locked in. We got to continue to watch and read and pray and fast and rehearse the righteous acts to the best of our ability, and follow the law, statutes, and commandments to the best of our ability. in hopes that we have been chosen from the foundation of the world to endure unto the end and be saved, while all of these wicked people just get destroyed for constantly provoking the Heavenly Father unto wrath with their wickedness. So with that, I'm going to wrap it up here. In closing, I want to give all the praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rakakwadash, the Wadi How, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, for putting the spirit on me to do this lesson. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Honors to all the brothers who are still fervently pushing the word in sincerity and in faith, and shalom to all the sincere believers. Hope you all stay strong, stay safe, stay fervent, stay circumspect, stay prayed up, and Adawan Ratazah. Till next time, shalom.